So the goal of Site is for us to be kind of the one solution, one-stop shop for property owners to go to when they have a question about just their facilities in general. I mean, we're starting to look at mechanical units just from an inventory standpoint, because today they have, we talk to any one of our clients and they have somewhere that they go to for their pavement information. They have another platform for their roofs. They have another one for lighting. They have another one for HVAC. And it's getting to a point where they don't, they want one place to go. And they don't want to have to go into all these different systems, and everybody has a different interface and different information. So the goal for us is to be that one solution that they go to for their conditions, their budgets, just general information about the equipment on their facilities. And I think that we're in a really good position to be able to do that, because we're seen as the subject matter expert. We're subject matter experts that are enhanced through technology. Anybody that we're competing against is very tech driven, but they don't have the ability to create those valuable insights for the client. Like, they deliver a cool product, but then the client looks at it and they're like, okay, this is awesome pictures, cool technology. What does it mean? What do I need to do to my roofs? What do I need to do to my pavements to maintain them? How do I cut my budgets, or better spend my money across all of my facilities? So we're in a really good position because we understand what they're looking for. And yeah, I'm super excited about the future of Site. I mean, like I said, we're just now starting to test out interiors, which is going to be really valuable to our clients. And we're still trying to figure it out. There's a bunch of different, like I said, cameras out there, 360 cameras. There's the Matterport camera, but we're trying to find what's scalable from a timing and cost perspective, and also gives us the data that we need to be able to create those insights. Right. Another really cool technology and kind of partner that we just recently went into partnership with through Site is a company called Utilist. They're headquartered out of Israel, and the CTO there, and I'm going to talk about this. I don't understand the technology at all, so don't ask me too many technical questions. But the CTO and founder used to work for NASA, and he was working on a project that they were looking for water on other planets using satellite imagery. So afterwards, he was able to take that same technology and use it for water utilities and municipalities. So now he's able to take an image from a satellite and be able to pinpoint water leaks on water utilities, and then also for municipalities in general, he does this. And I mean, it's crazy that some of the tiny leaks that they've been able to find from a satellite underneath the ground is really, really impressive. So they've actually, with a lot of their municipalities, they're at a point where the municipality's like, look, only give us X number of leaks, a month, because that's all we can handle to fix. Like, we can't fix, 10,000 at a time. Give us 100. So the technology is really cool. And what we've done is we partnered with them to be able to, because on facilities, as you probably know, the biggest thing that kills a facility is water. So in a roof, it's water that gets into the roof system and destroys it. Same thing with pavement. If there's moisture underneath the pavement, that area and that pavement is going to fail a lot faster than anywhere else on either their portfolio or on that property specifically. So they've taken the technology and they've kind of calibrated it for finding moisture underneath surfaces that we're now starting to deliver to our clients. So we've gotten an exclusive agreement with them where we're the only ones that are able to sell this to our clients for facilities and commercial, retail, industrial, to be able to find moisture underneath the ground, and then also eventually underneath roofing systems. So that's just another really cool differentiator that nobody else in the world is able to do.
So Austin, check this out. I got to tell you this. So
yeah,
your dad's going to probably tell you, because we've already talked about it. Like that technology is fascinating, and it's fascinating to me because I brought this up to your dad. That you guys, and this is what's awesome about networking. Once again, is because say you guys look at a pavement and roofs and stuff. So I'm hearing this. There's a couple things I'm thinking of. The only thing that kills a robot lawnmower is standing water. Okay. At the end of the day, a robot lawnmower uses resistance. It learns a yard by measuring the resistance in the cutting system, right? So when they're standing water, the robot's like, wow, that's some really long grass. And it just goes over there and it frolics around in the pool of water until it makes a pig pen, right? So in automated outdoor, we're always like, okay, we need to recognize water. So the first thing I hear when I hear this is, holy cow, I can literally get no auto mower zones like right out of the gate before we make the mistake and piss off the customer. So that's number one. I think, wow, we've really got to be partnering. Secondly, I brought up to your dad slip and fall liability in our snow companies, okay? Because when you have water pushing up from underneath the surface, this happens all winter, it snows, we clear pavement, and then all of a sudden you've got water pushing up from the curb lines and the cracks. Huge. And I could literally see a day where you'll be selling this information to Snow and Ice Management Association and lawyers and stuff to defend slip and fall claims.
Yeah.
Say, hey, this has nothing to do with the contractor. They have a groundwater issue, or the city has a water main break. And honestly, Austin, like
I never thought about that. Yeah, no, that's a really good application for that tool.
Yeah. So see, this is why we need to talk more, but yeah. So your dad's telling me about this stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, my mind is blown right now because this is what's really cool about getting. It's like what I find is people in technology, we get so passionate about it, we're willing to talk about it for hours on end.
Oh yeah,
okay?
Yeah.
And since there's very little competition in it right now, there is a huge amount of viability to say, okay, it's okay if I talk to Joe and he kind of takes this side and runs with it because I can't run everywhere in the world, and that's what's really cool about guys like us right now is when you're like bleeding edge on something, you learn so much just talking to people. I'm sorry, as I'm talking to you, I'm like so excited. I actually might be more excited talking to you than your dad, just because your dad I've already researched and studied and learned about, But with you, there's a lot of stuff going on with similar things with Julia and I.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how much in the last 2.5 years that I've learned just from, whether it's technology or how different companies manage their facilities, or talking to VC. We haven't raised any money, but it's something that we've discussed. So just talking to those people and just learning a whole nother industry is
VCs. Really do you mean venture capitalists or
yeah, venture capitalists.
Just for people listening that might not realize that term, I just wanted to elaborate on that.
Yeah. It's been fascinating just learning about a completely different industry. And it's been a lot of fun. So
no, Austin, it's funny you bring up the venture capitalist stuff, because I tell people all the time, like I'll go to sell robotic lawnmowers to somebody in Lake Forest or something, and I get kind of like, I'll go on like 3 quotes, and I find my business radar is kind of going off, because I'm like, these people really want a robot? Or what are they really trying to do right now? And then all of a sudden they'll be like, yeah, I'm a venture capitalist, or I'm a private equities investor. And I've heard a lot about your business. And, you really start to realize when you're onto something. I've, and much like you guys probably with Rabine Group with the paving, built this great paving organization. I've got a large landscape and snowmobile company, but I'm never get a venture capitalist or a private equisties company being like, hey, you need some money,
Yeah.
When you start doing other stuff and people are talking to you about that, you're like, isn't it the most inspiring thing? You literally go to bed at night thinking like, wow, I'm really onto something here.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And another thing that I'd love to talk to you about more we've been, I mean, for the last probably last 5 years, I've talked to a handful of different people about building robots for striping parking lots, because I think, I mean, it's the biggest pain in the butt. You know, we don't self-perform it, so we always subcontract it out. When we look at like distribution centers, who are a lot of our clients, just to stripe their parking lot, which is really important because the trucks need to know where to go and where the trailers need to go. It's a pain in the butt because they have to move all of the trailers to get out of the way for the striping machine to come in and the guy to stripe it, line it off. I mean, if they could have a robot that could stripe the parking lot on their facility, it'd be a no-brainer for them to do that.
So Austin, I've got chills right now.
Yeah.
The reason you just gave me chills is because when we get off this call, you can research a company called Swazi. And if you check me out on LinkedIn, we just became a Swazi dealer. Now, right now, what Swazi does, but it's funny you bring this up because I literally already told Swazi this. So Swazi is a robotic field striping unit. It can stripe a football field in 22 minutes with letters and everything in the field. So, I mean, not only the lines, but you could say Bears and Packers on the other side, and it'll stripe it, okay?
That's crazy.
So I brought up to them, I said, hey, let me tell you what you need. Because I get asked all the time, is Langton Group to start doing seal coating? And I'm like, hell no, this is not, this is a big shift for me. Totally different equipment, it doesn't make sense. But I have often thought, when I watch people seal coat or pave a parking lot, I've noticed from a distance, the paving part seems easy, but then you've got to coordinate how you're going to stripe it and laying it out and the other stuff. Exactly. So this is 2 centimeter accuracy. This is how accurate it gets. And it stripes. So when I talked to Swazi about this, and honestly, they're going to be one of my guests, by the way. They're an upcoming guest, so you'll have to tune into that episode.
Yeah.
I said, why don't you have a parking lot striper? And they said, well, in Switzerland, because this is where they come from, there's not a big demand for it, and it's a different kind of paint. And I said, listen, if you have the GPS satellite system, you have to be able to just change the paint to be able to do parking lots, you know? So they said to me, well, get some people that do it and tell us how to do it, and we'll make you a parking lot striper. So here today, this is what we're doing. You and I, we're going to call Swazi in Switzerland, and we're going to figure out what it takes for them to take their stuff and turn it into a parking lot striper. Because this is crazy. I mean, it's like similar minds, you know?
Yeah. Well, and yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, that's the only part that would need to be figured out, because you could, so usually there's CAD files that will have, the layout of the parking.
And that's how these work, is all off a CAD file.
Right. Or if we have drone imagery, all of that has GPS data, so you can lay it out that way. So the laying it out part should be, I mean, again, I like technology, but I don't know how it works all the time. But I imagine that this should be pretty easy.
Well, and what they brought up was, if we wanted to, since the layout is 90% of what's difficult, right? They're like, if you wanted to, just use like field striping paint, like it's like a primer, or use like that type of paint to just stripe it quick, and then all somebody has to do is walk behind it with the machine, and there's no layout. Now, that in itself is a solution, right? But going back to your drone stuff at the beginning, you use the drones for one thing, and you narrowed it in to make it full solution, a bigger picture solution. So I think we can narrow this down and make this better. And honestly, you should try to make some time to come out to Woodstock, and I'll show you the Swazi. And because you'll get to see it. What's crazy is this company's smart enough to be able to deal with the heavily unionized area we live in the Chicago market. So I literally am going to be selling 2 units. One is a completely automatic drive wheels that drives itself. And then the other unit is pushed by a person, but there's a GPS unit on the screen. And if you get off track, it just shuts off the sprayer. So your person pushes it, and it basically tells them there's like a gain meter, left, right. And if you get too far off, because the arm adjusts for that accuracy, if you're too far off that the arm can't adjust, it just stops the sprayer. You back up the cart and start to push again.
That's awesome.
Right? I mean, it's like amazing stuff. There's another company right now in Europe that makes a robotic parking lot sweeper. They think they're called Enway. You should look them up on LinkedIn. And I'm like literally begging them to get me a unit to the United States because Langton Group does parking lot sweeping, for Walmart, and man, oh man, if I could just park sweepers at a Walmart and let them sweep 7 days a week, because what happens, if you're in facilities management, what happens with a Walmart is we only sweep 1 hour a night, okay? And then a manager comes in at 8 a.m. and they take a picture of a receipt and they go, I thought I have a parking lot sweeper. And I go, yeah, the receipt says 7:30 a.m. We swept it at 2 o'clock in the morning, But so anyway, it's just, I mean, the world we live in right now, going back to your song, Life is Good, to be in technology now and to be a leader in it, I mean, it's just, I can't imagine the potential. It's unimaginable.
Yeah, it's a blast for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know how we've been on some, like, not recently, but I remember probably, I don't know, six years ago, we been on some of those parking lot sweeping bid events. Holy cow, those are competitive.
Yeah, so you know what's crazy about parking lot sweeping for us is this is another business we kind of got dragged into, okay? And for you to learn a little bit about us, we started out, all I was ever going to do was snowplow, kind of like your dad. All I'm going to ever do is pave. That's all I'm going to do, right? So snowplowing, that's all we're going to do. But our customers, our biggest customers then were Lowe's, Walmart, Sam's Club, Costco's. Costco's one of our biggest customers. And they said, man, we need you to do our landscaping. Your customer service level is so high. So for 5 months, we've got the best vendor outside we've ever had. And then we get our landscaper. That's literally what got us in. Well, then we started doing landscaping, and then they're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to deal with my street sweeper. Can you do street sweeping? So it's what's gotten us into all of these things. Even we do irrigation for Walmarts. So hearing this, so like another thing for me with you like monitoring water in the ground, I cannot imagine the amount of irrigation work I can get from Walmart using your guys' technology. I mean, Austin.
Let's do it.
I mean, talk about scalability. I told your dad on our podcast, he's done something that I want to do, and I keep telling my team, I want to go from a large local contractor to a national contractor and be a world-class contractor. And I hear everything you're saying, and I'm like, this is how you become world-class, because I'm knowing things that are happening at Walmart and Costco before Walmart and Costco gets their water bill. And water is expensive. Mm-hmm. So if I can save them $1,000 over 7 months because they have a water leak, they'll gladly pay the $7,000 repair bill.
Yeah, for sure.
And not damage all their parking lot.